the 3rd of February 2015. Good afternoon and welcome to your lunchtime news. I'm Hizrina Hizbi and here's a look at your headlines.
Indian Prime Minister to visit Jaffna during official visit to Sri Lanka. Several prisoners granted a general amnesty parallel to Independence Day. Pakistan successfully test fires a nuclear-capable, indigenously developed missile.
And starting off with a look at your local stories, Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi will travel to Sri Lanka in March, the first bilateral visit by an Indian Prime Minister to the island in over 25 years. Now, during the visit, Prime Minister Modi is likely to travel to Jaffna.
The previous bilateral visit to Sri Lanka by an Indian Prime Minister was in 1987. Former Prime Minister Manmohan Singh was in Colombo in 2008 to attend the SAARC summit. However, he skipped the Commonwealth summit that Sri Lanka hosted in November 2013, a decision that was strongly criticized by sections in New Delhi and Colombo. The Hindu reports that Modi is expected to discuss a number of points during his visit to Sri Lanka.
Today is Navam Full Moon Poya Day. Buddhists across the island celebrate many significant events of the Buddhist calendar that took place on this day.
Navam Full Moon Poya Day has special significance for the Buddhists in Sri Lanka and in the world over. The appointment of the two chief disciples of Gautama Buddha as Agdu Savaka, namely Sariputta and Moggallana, took place on a Navam Full Moon Poya Day. On a day like this, the Buddha proclaimed for the first time a code of fundamental ethical precepts for the monks. It is on a Navam Full Moon Poya Day that the Buddha announced that within 3 months his Parinibbana will take place.
In other local news, one person was killed and 16 others injured after a bus veered off the road and turned turtle on the Badulla-Kinakale road. Now 7 women are among the injured. The police say that the private bus, which was travelling towards Hapathale carrying a group of wedding guests from Thangamale, had toppled while attempting to give way to a vehicle travelling the opposite direction. Now the driver of the bus, who was under the influence of alcohol at the time of the accident, has been arrested. Meanwhile, a female police constable was killed and 3 others were injured in an accident involving a motorcycle at the Kaduana junction in Mount Lavinia last evening. The police say that the deceased policewoman was attached to the Mirihana police station. Her husband and 2 children were injured in the accident. Another accident was also reported this morning near the Mount Lavinia police station.
Police media spokesperson SSP Ajit said that the accident occurred when a bus collided into another parked bus. A major effort was undertaken to rescue a man who had been trapped inside one of the buses.
A 24-year-old woman has been killed with an axe in Dadala, Gaul. Police said the victim's mother and brother were also seriously injured in the attack and are receiving treatment at the Karapitia Teaching Hospital. A resident of Accra, Sakatandola, the victim moved to Dadala after getting married 4 months ago. Police suspect the murder was the result of a dispute between the victim and her husband's uncle. Police say the suspect in the murder had committed suicide after jumping in front of a moving train in the Gintota area in Gaul early this morning. The Department of Prisons says that several prisoners have been given a general amnesty in line with the Independence Day celebrations. Commissioner General of Prisons Chandraratna Pallegama noted that thereby prisoners over the age of 75 and inmates who have been detained due to their inability to pay fines are eligible for the amnesty. The police headquarters note that around 3,000 police officers will be deployed for tomorrow's Independence Day celebrations. Police media spokesperson SSP Ajit Rohana noted that these police officers will be deployed to ensure security and keep traffic in order in the area. Now, the Ministry of Defence notes that around 5,000 soldiers will take part in tomorrow's celebrations. Minister of Home Affairs Joseph Michael Pereira noted that school children will not take part in this year's Independence Day celebrations. And meanwhile, police headquarters says that several roads around the Parliament will be closed between 6 a.m. to 11 a.m. tomorrow in view of the Independence Day celebrations. Moving on to more local news, police have commenced investigations into a stock of goods that were discovered in a house rented by former Minister Kehelia Rambukwella. Police noted that the raid was conducted based on a tip-off.
The stock of goods were transported to the house located on Pushpadana Mawata in Kandy last evening. The office of the police media spokesperson noted that the stock of goods were transported from the residence of former Minister Rambukwella, located on Kapitipola Mawata in Cinnamon Gardens, Colombo, with the use of 3 lorries. Among the discovered stocks were mugs imprinted with the image of former President Mahinda Rajapaksa.
The Government Medical Officers Association says that the salary increments which were granted through the 2015 interim budget must be implemented from February. The association made this statement while addressing a media briefing in Colombo yesterday.
The salary increments for doctors have not come into effect as yet, just as these allowances have been granted to the Ministry of Higher Education, Ministry of Justice and the Ministry of Power and Energy. It must be granted to the GMOA similarly. If the allowances are not included into the February salary as mentioned in the 2015 budget, we will have to put aside our means of resolving such problems through discussions, as we have for the past 3 to 4 years, and get onto the streets and unfortunately engage in a trade union action. And it will be the relevant officials who will have to be held accountable when the health service crumbles and all other inconvenience of the public takes place once this action is taken.
The
All Ceylon General Fisheries Federation convened a media briefing yesterday to highlight several problems faced by their community.
Prior to addressing the media, the All Ceylon General Fisheries Federation had organised a meeting to be held at the Dondra Fisheries Village Town Hall. However, they were not allowed to use the premises. As a result, the media briefing was held at the Fisheries Harbour. We call on the current government to immediately hold talks with a view to ending the EU ban on fish exports from Sri Lanka and to give the fishermen in our country the opportunity to export there. The next problem that we have is this. In 2012, when the fishing community took to the streets to protest against the fuel price hike, the then government shot and killed our comrade Anthony Fernando. Later, another comrade of ours was killed. On the 8th of June 2013, the lives of 71 fishermen were lost as a result of the sudden change in the weather and cyclone that followed. We lost 71 lives because the Fisheries Ministry did not warn the people. We call on the current government and the minister to conduct an inquiry immediately and ensure that justice is served to these people.
In more local news, garbage had been dumped outside the Angunakola Palace Pradeshya Sabha building yesterday. The chairman of the Pradeshya Sabha claims that this was the act of a group of ruling party members of the council. Speaking to Newsfirst, the chairman claimed that the ruling party members had resorted to this action due to a difference of opinion between them. He further pointed out that since the necessary provisions were not made at the monthly sitting of the council for the disposal of garbage, the process had been undermined. Now, ruling party members claim that the chairman had used their protest over the abnormal fuel charges to halt garbage collection. The opposition leader of the Pradeshya Sabha claims that ruling party members are rioting against the chairman. And that wraps up lunchtime news on MTV Sports for this afternoon. I'm Hizrina Hizbi for News First. Have a pleasant day ahead.
Hotline 0114